Greetings. This is the one you've known as Jesus the Christ. Make yourself comfortable and begin to relax more deeply as you listen to these words. I'd like to help you get in touch with the simple joy at your core. Joy is the word I'll use for the subtle experience of happiness that is the ongoing experience of your divine or true self. It is always experiencing joy, whether you're aware of that or not. Always. This is wonderful news. Joy is like a hum or frequency within your being that you can tune into any time. Frequency and tune in are good ways to describe this because your divine self could be said to reside in another frequency or on another channel than your default, the egoic state of consciousness. Your divine self underlies the egoic state of consciousness, which gives birth to the false self, and it allows this state to be your experience. And yet the experience of yourself as the false self is just that, false. It's a fiction, while this other channel, this other frequency, is the experience of life as it truly is. As with the radio station, when you're tuned in to the egoic state of consciousness, whatever's playing is the only thing playing. You generally aren't aware of other channels. You aren't aware of what's playing in reality on the True Self's channel. The True Self and its experience still exist, but you aren't aware of it. The same is true if you're tuned in to the True Self's channel, into reality. The ego's reality or channel still exists and may even be heard somewhat in the background, but it isn't what has your attention. It's fortunate that the True Self's channel and experience does bleed through into the egoic state of consciousness, bringing opportunities to experience something other than the ego's point of view and its so-called truth. These two channels do bleed into each other and influence each other to some extent, and there's a going back and forth between one channel and the other. As you progress on the spiritual path, you spend more time tuned into reality and less time tuned into virtual reality, the ego's channel. The tunes that are playing in reality express joy and produce joy, while the tunes playing in the egoic state of consciousness produce little joy. They're work tunes, designed to get things done within a certain timetable and evaluate those accomplishments. Go faster, work harder, do better, don't be late, don't do this, be this way, try harder. These songs seem to be helpful and necessary for your survival, but there's no joy in them. They leave you feeling that joy is incompatible with life and with accomplishment, as if the two can't go hand in hand, as if you have to sacrifice joy for accomplishment. But this is just more of the ego's black and white thinking. The ego's voice, like a demanding boss or harsh parent, takes the joy out of life. But joy is in life, even in doing the work of life. What's this voice like for you? How does it take the joy out of life for you? What are its favorite tunes? Let's take a moment to contemplate this. Within the song of joy of the true self is a great love for life. This love for life includes a love of doing things, even mundane things, even hard things, not just whatever's interesting and fun, but everything about life. It also loves doing nothing when just being is what's called for. When you're in touch with reality, everything about life is loved, both doing and not doing. Some things may be more loved than others, but everything about life is loved. Loving everything is where the joy comes from. Joy and love are one and the same. Let's stop a moment now and see if you can tune in to the joy of your divine nature. One thing that can help you tune into this joy is remembering a time when you felt joy. Everyone has moments of intense joy. At Christmas when you were a child, when someone you had your eye on acknowledges that he or she likes you, when you finish something you worked hard on, when you got something you really wanted, when you brought your puppy or other pet home the first time, or when you looked into your baby's eyes for the first time. Firsts are often moments of joy. Let's take a moment and bring to mind a moment like this, and notice within your being how that joy felt. This joy is timeless. It's always available. Every moment of joy you have ever had is a means of accessing this ever-present joy. Once you've accessed it, you can rest in the real here and now experience of joy, in reality, not in the memory that brought you to this joy, but in the joy itself. Bask in it. Invite joy into your life this way. If you aren't feeling joy, invoke it by recalling a memory of when you felt it, and then let that subtle experience of joy in your body draw you into reality and keep you there. Give your attention to the experience of joy in your body. People naturally focus on what they deem as problems in their lives, but all that does is create a negative internal state, the opposite of joy. This negative experience is so unnecessary. You created it, and you can learn to create something else by moving your focus away from whatever thoughts and feelings you were dwelling on to the subtle experience of the ever-present joy within your being. Paying attention to the thoughts that run through your mind is a habit. Those thoughts are the ego's radio station. A new habit needs to be established and can be established of giving your attention to a different channel, changing the channel to reality. Isn't it strange and funny that your default is to live in a fantasy, a fiction, while reality awaits with the joy and peace that you long for and try to get through the ego's doing and wishing and hoping? The ego has its strategies for making you happy, but they only promise future happiness. They don't deliver happiness in the here and now. The egoic state of consciousness, that channel, doesn't make you happy. It only promises that if you do certain things, you'll be happy at some other point in time. Meanwhile, you can be happy now by simply turning away from that channel and tuning into reality and its joy, the song of joy of your being, which is always playing. Joy is a state of consciousness. It's not an accomplishment or a thing you get through your efforts, because you already have it. To change your state of consciousness, you don't need to do anything or get anything. All that's required to get to a state of consciousness is simply tune into it. Tune into the joy that already exists without doing anything other than that. Can you do this again right now? Is joy still available to you right now? Is it there within your being? The trick to tuning into joy or any other quality of your divine nature is making a conscious choice to do this. Making this choice eventually becomes a habit and simply how you relate to life. But before this becomes a habit, that choice has to be consciously made again and again. And that takes a certain amount of effort. Not effort like having to lift something or do something, but effort that's more like choosing against the ego's efforts, choosing to not go in the direction of your default. When you're programmed to do something, it takes effort to not do that. That is the work, the spiritual work, that everyone must choose to do at some point. And no amount of reading books or listening to talks will stand in for that effort. You have to choose to stop, notice where your attention is, and make another choice. And no one else can do this for you. For this to even happen, you need some awareness of your thoughts and some motivation to awaken out of the ego, to change your default. If you do want to wake up out of the egoic state of consciousness, then it's good to make an intention to do that. That acknowledges your willingness to cooperate with the process of spiritual unfoldment happening within you. Make a conscious intention to go in the direction of whatever supports or enhances the possibility of awakening out of the ego. Make an intention and then take steps to support that possibility. Learn to meditate. Make spiritual practices part of your day. Pray, and do whatever else increases the time you spend in presence, in reality. Too many get stuck hoping they'll awaken without intending that sufficiently and taking practical steps in that direction, beyond reading books and listening to talks. All of you listening to these messages are doing that, and I thank you for that. Blessings to you all. I am with you always.